Centurions, Prime here, grading my first Bokksu Box, the Seasons of Japan box. These are kind of my thoughts and a scale of 1 to 10 on what I thought of each item. Overall, I will say I did like the box. I like the amount of stuff you get in it. It was a very good first box, kind of leading into what's to come. From now on, they should be themed boxes starting this month, for February. Most of the items were pretty good. There was some that were kind of like middle of the road, and there was a few that I didn't really care for, but that's my personal preference. So let's get into it, and I will post a link or card or whatever right up here for the original review for it, or the original unboxing for it, let me say. All right, so first up, under the banner of spring, we had the, what is it? Mokchan Dango Mochi. I rated this a 9 out of 10. 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, of course. On the, how much did I like it? And I'm a big fan of mochi. Ever since I tried some a month or two ago, I fell in love with it. It's very good. It's kind of like a rice candy, but it's almost like a gummy. It's pretty cool. I like that there's 3 different flavors in this. The green, the white, and the pink all have different flavors. Like I said, I would definitely buy this off Bokksu's site, because they do sell these items individually. I would buy this again. Okay, next up we have from the spring also, we have the stick potato Super Mucho Plum. I rated this a 5, middle of the road. It wasn't bad, it wasn't really good, at least not to my taste. It had a different taste, and I guess maybe that's the pickled plum flavor, but like I said, it was alright. I mean, they were good, they were exciting. There was a lot of the little stick potatoes in there in the bag, but just not really, I guess, what I was expecting. All right, again in the spring collection, we have the 20th Century Pear Longu or Long de Chat. This was the Asian pear with the kind of like the cheese and the white chocolate. I give this a 7 out of 10, which I was actually pleasantly surprised. I thought maybe the cheese might kind of affect it, but it was a real smooth taste, and you could taste the pear and the chocolate. You really couldn't taste the cheese, but it did add that little bit of a, what is this kind of thing to it. It's pretty good, pretty good. I enjoyed it. All right, and lastly from the spring collection, this was a Bokksu exclusive. It was the white strawberry, and let me tell you about this. I gave that a 10, and if my scale went higher than 10, it would be more than a 10. I would gladly buy this any day of the week. It's basically a freeze-dried strawberry that they have infused with chocolate, and oh my God, it is like the best tasting thing I've ever had. I mean, you literally can't have something sweeter or better than that, and it was just like the perfect amount of sweetness. It wasn't too sweet. It was just perfect. You got the strawberry, you got the chocolate. It was crazy. It tasted like a freaking chocolate covered cherry. I mean, not cherry, but strawberry. Like somebody just dipped it in there fresh. It was crazy. The only thing about it is, you couldn't take bites of it. You had to eat it all at one time, but I mean, that's fine. I mean, it was amazing. I still have one left. I've been saving it because I just don't, like I don't want to eat it right now because I'm like, oh, it's the last one I got. Oh no, But yeah, by far 10 out of 10. It was the best thing in this box. I wish they would give you more than 2. All right, next up we move to summertime, and this was the edamame senbei, which is like a little cracker. It had little pieces, chunks and stuff of the edamame in there, which is the little beans from the pods. I gave this a 9 out of 10. I was very pleasantly surprised. I didn't really know what it was going to taste like. It was it was a really good little cracker. It was nice and salty. You got the taste of the edamame in there. Um, Overall, like I said, it was really good. It was just a little bit of a small cracker, but packed a lot of flavor. All right, next up out of the summer collection, we have the seaweed tempura Satuchi Zadachi. Now, let me preface this by saying that, this is my personal taste, of course, but this was one of the lower rated items on there. I rated it a 4. They weren't bad, but they tasted real, like, lemony. And basically, it was a piece of dried seaweed that had something on top of it. I guess like a citrus or something. But they had been battered and fried. And it was just that weird citrusy taste that just kind of was like, it threw it off with that seaweed taste. And I'm not really a big fan of seaweed to begin with. So, yeah, it really wasn't doing it for me. All right, next up was the from the summer collection. We have the Bokksu Maker series, the handmade yuzu sake candy. I gave this a 5. It's kind of middle of the road for me. It's a good little hard candy. You do taste the sake in it, but it's not very overwhelming. But other than that, there's really not a whole lot of flavor going on there. They weren't bad, but like I said, they could have been a lot better. I think they could have had a little more yuzu taste to them, just to kind of round them out. All right, and lastly, from the summer collection, we had the Don Don Yaki, which was basically like a little um, fried cracker that had like soy sauce kind of taste to it. Um, it was marinated in the tonkatsu sauce, which, like I said, has a little bit of the soy sauce and stuff in it. I give it a 6 out of 10. They weren't bad. That taste, I mean, it's a little aggressive at first, but then as you eat them, more of them, it's not that bad. You did get 2 packs in this box. Um, like I said, they weren't bad. There was a bunch of little crackers in there, and pretty good. I mean, like I said, I don't know that I'd buy them myself, but not bad. All right, next up we move on to fall, and you have the Hokkaido Red Bean Donuts. It's another one of the Bokksu Maker series, and I give this an 8 out of 10. I liked them. They were nice and soft, and the red bean filling inside them was something I haven't had before, and it was real creamy and sweet. And the donuts were like really good. I mean, they did have a little slight, almost burnt flavor, but it wasn't so bad that it made it, just ruined it, But it was a little bit of a different taste. And maybe that's because it had the azuki beans or whatever they are. Um, but yeah, they were really good. I was very happy with them. It was just sad there was only like 2 or 3 donuts in that little bag that they gave you. Okay, next up from the fall collection, we had the matcha chocolate stick cake. This was another good one. I had 8 out of 10 on it. Um, you had all the chocolate. You had the matcha tea flavor. And that was like my first time having the matcha tea flavor, and it was really good. It wasn't very sweet. It wasn't overpowering. It was just right for me. Um, I was just kind of sad that it was only a bar about that big, but it's all right. It was something that I probably would buy again. Just maybe a bigger size. All right, next up from the fall collection, we had the Black Sesame Taiko Kumamon design. I'm guessing the Kumamon was the character, the little panda-looking thing on the front, or bear, or whatever it is. But basically, this was more or less a sesame seed and almond cracker. Um, had a little sugar syrup in it. I gave it a 5 out of 10. It's just kind of middle of the road for me. It didn't taste bad. Didn't really taste, as good as I was hoping it would. It did have the sesame flavor, and you could taste that little sweetness in it. But like I said, it was just kind of middle of the road for me. All right, and lastly from the fall collection, you had the Aomori Apple Caramel Yokoi Sable or Sable or whatever, however you say that, Sable. I don't know how they pronounce it in Japanese. It was a 6 out of 10 for me. It was really soft, really nice and chewy. Had really good mouthfeel. You did get little hints of the apple, but overall, to me, it just didn't have a lot of flavor. I was expecting a lot more of the apple flavor or some of the caramel flavor to go through it, but it wasn't a bad little cookie. All right, lastly, we go into the wintertime, and first up, we had the Funwari Meijin Mochi Puffs Kanako. This, sadly, I was hoping for a lot more, but this was a 4 out of 10 for me. I originally had it rated a little higher the first time I tried it, but then when I had the second bag, it got a lower rating just because it's just there's just something weird about the taste. I guess because of the soybean powder on the outside, it really wasn't that sweet to me. Because they say it's supposed to be a sweet nutty flavor. I did get the nutty flavor, just not so much the sweet. And like I said, it was just a little strange to me. Just not to my taste. Okay, next up for winter, we have the drink item for this because usually in each box you get some kind of a tea, either a little stick packet or a bag that you can make the tea. I had the organic gin matcha or gin matcha tea. This I gave a 7 out of 10. I was very pleasantly surprised by it. You don't leave it in the hot water for that long, and it actually packs a lot of flavor. It is a little bit of a different flavor because of the brown rice in there, but it was very good. I was very pleased with it, and it's the bags are enough for like 1 cup of tea. Okay, next up we had from the winter collection we had the Puku Puku Tai, the chocolate. This I gave a 7 out of 10 also. It was very good. The outside is a mochi wafer. Kind of expected to be a little more chewy on the outside because of it being a mochi wafer, but it was actually kind of dry. Now, the mousse inside was nice and soft and pillowy. It was a chocolate mousse. Once you got past the dryness of the outside, that, chocolatey mousse just kind of coated your mouth and just made everything taste great. So that's why I gave it a 7 out of 10 instead of anything higher. It was mainly just because of the little nitpickiness about the mochi on the outside, the wafers. All right, and lastly from the winter collection, and lastly from the Bokksu box, we have what they call a fan favorite here. This was one I was kind of on the fence about. I didn't think I was going to like it, but it was the uni rice cracker. Now I gave this a 5 out of 10 because I actually was surprised. I figured this was going to be like a 2 or a 3 for me because I'm not really a big fan of the like seaweedy, salty, briny taste of the ocean, and that's what I expected. Um, but this actually was pleasantly good. It had the little soy sauce flavor. You really didn't taste any kind of brininess or anything from it. There was like a slight saltiness that was probably from the uni that's in there, but it wasn't overpowering. It was just kind of like middle of the road for me. I mean, I not something I would probably buy myself, but I wouldn't turn it down if somebody gave me some more. Um, but overall, I mean, like I said, this was a good starter box for the Bokksu boxes. This is what they give everybody when they sign up. You can sign up at www.bokksu.com, or you can do like I did and go through Amazon and do it through the subscriptions. Um, with tax and everything, mine ends up coming up to be like $53.45 a month, which isn't terrible. It's all coming from Japan, so that's where a lot of the cost comes from. But you're supporting local merchants and families in Japan that make these items. It's not big box corporations or big companies. These are all kind of like smaller made, and each month you get the different themes too. I'm interested to see what this month for February is going to be. And I look forward to continuing to get these boxes and try out and learn a little more about Japan through the different regions and food. If you'd like this video, comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you would try any of these things, subscribe to my channel.